Good day, grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's English File, Paper 2 lesson. My name is Malibongo Gule, and this lesson is brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Saibono Discovery Center. Today, we are going to look at English File Paper 2, as I have said, exam preparation and how to answer exam questions. So I want us to start with our lesson objectives. We'll be looking at, number one, the structure and format of the English file literature paper. We'll also look at the choices that you have, how to choose genres that you have studied at school. We will also look at what key themes, literary devices, and how to respond to different questions in the English file literature paper. We will also analyze character development, setting of a story, tone, state of mind, and plot structure. I want us also to engage in critical thinking through discussion questions. We must demonstrate comprehension through a baseline test that will be given to you. Now, let's begin with our baseline test. These are the few questions that I would like you to answer in your English classwork book as our baseline assessment. Number one, name the 4 genres found in the literature paper for 4 marks. Number 2, how many questions should you answer in paper 2 tomorrow for 1 mark? Number 3, what is the setting of a literary work for 1 mark? Number 4, describe a character state of mind. And the last one, what is the theme of a literary work for 1 mark? Now you have 3 minutes to answer these 5 questions. Welcome back, grade 12. I hope you have answered all our baseline questions and you have full marks. Let us look at the first one. Name the 4 genres found in the literature paper. These are the 4 genres we have in paper 2. The first one is a novel. We have 2 novels, Cry the Beloved Country and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Then we have drama, we have short stories and poetry. These are the 4 genres that we are doing in paper 2 for 4 marks. If you have all 4 of them, you can give yourself full marks. Right, number 2, how many questions should you answer in the paper 2 literature examination? Now remember, grade 12, this information is very important because you have spent hours and hours studying during the course of the year. But if you make the wrong choice in these questions tomorrow, you will not do well, and we want you to do well in this examination. So you need to know exactly how to go about choosing the questions. So how many should you answer? You answer 2 questions from 2 genres. So you can either do a novel, 1 question from the novels, 1 question from the drama section, or 1 from drama, then short stories, but you cannot answer all of them. Right, next question. What is the setting of a literary work? When we talk about the setting in paper 2, what do we mean? Here is our answer. We're looking at the time and the place where a story or an extract is set. And remember, time in this context is not referring to the 24-hour clock, midnight or morning or afternoon. We mean the event. What is happening at that particular moment? That is the time, the event that we expect you to give tomorrow in the examination. Right, the next question was, describe a character state of mind. What is a character state of mind? Remember, the last time we spoke about this question, we said the character state of mind is the mental and the emotional state, or what the character is thinking or feeling. So it's the head and the heart. You remember those 2 things tomorrow when you go to the examination. The head, what the character is thinking, and the heart, how is he or she feeling? That is the answer for your state of mind question. Moving right along. Question number 5. What is the theme of a literary work? The theme refers to the underlying message, what the message that the author or the writer is trying to get across to the audience. That is our theme. Now, I want us to look at the table of contents of the English FAL paper 2 examination paper. How does it look like? You must have seen this before. If you haven't, well, today you are in luck. You'll get to see it before the examination tomorrow. Now, this is what the table of contents look like. So tomorrow when you get to the examination, look at this table. Your invigilators will help you go through the instructions. But when you get to this, you will not be paging through the entire question paper from the first page up to the last. You look at the question that you are doing and the page number, the genre that you have studied at school. Let's say, for instance, you have done question 1, Cry the Beloved Country. So you'll be going to page 4. That's where your question 1 will be. If you've done question 1 and question 3, maybe, then you go to page 4 and page 12. There is no need, grade 12, to be going through the entire paper before you start answering. Look at the table of contents, look at the genre that you have studied at school, and look at the page number where you are supposed to go, and you go right there. Remember, time is money, and don't waste it. Don't waste time. You have 2.5 hours to do this. Choose the 2 genres that you have studied. There's no random selection here. You choose the genres that you have studied at school. Now, you will have 10 minutes reading time at 8:50, that is 10 to 9 up to 9 o'clock before you start writing at 9. Now, how do you manage that time? This is what you are supposed to do during that time. Read the instructions very carefully. Number 1, use the table of contents to locate your questions. You have already done that. So go through your instructions. Very important. How you are supposed to answer the questions before you answer them. And use the table of contents to locate the questions that you are answering. Read the extract. You can pay. Remember, you are not supposed to write, but you are supposed to Read. So you can read. You are supposed to be reading during that 10 minutes. Decide which genre you were taught and the one you will be answering first. Remember, you can start with question 5 or question 6 or any question as long as you do not change the numbering in the question paper. So go through the questions, page through your what? You know the question number you are looking for. You know the page number you are looking for. So you go there. Now look for the question that you are going to do or the question you are going to answer first. Then, this is your 10 minutes. Understanding instructions. This will allow you to carefully read and understand the instructions for the examination in order to avoid confusion about what is required for each question that you will be answering. Plan your answers. Use this time to plan your approach to the different questions that you will be answering in the examination. You can decide which question to tackle first based on your strengths, and the marks allocated to each question. The marks allocated, remember, this is also very important. Mark allocation, pay attention. So you look for your strengths and the marks. Start there. Right, then reducing anxiety. Having a few minutes to read through the question paper can help reduce initial anxiety. You don't have to panic. When you panic, you make mistakes. So calm yourself down. You've got this. You've been doing this since the beginning of the year. You have seen the English literature paper, even just in your June exam. So this isn't the first time. So relax and do what you know, what you have been taught to do. Right, this is your 10 minutes reading time. Identify the key points. This time can be used to what? To identify key points and terms in the questions. Terms in the questions. Remember, grade 12s. Go, underline, keywords, the terms, the words that are used in the questions that will give you a clue. What information is important? What information you're supposed to include in your response? Overall, this reading time is designed to help you perform better by allowing you to start the exam with a clear understanding and a strategic plan. Right, read, and read. We have 10 minutes. Now think about the questions you are going to answer and then you start writing. Now, let us look at the reading strategy. You can see here, and cry the beloved country. The first one, you must read the extract. Read the extract before you start answering the questions. Number 2, a clue will be given in the extract, but I'm sorry to tell you that they took him away and I heard the magistrate had sent him to the reformatory. Read the extract thoroughly. And then you look at, you see on the bottom, right? Place the extract in context. This extract comes from book 1, chapter 10. But as a matriculant, you are supposed to remember what happened before this extract and what's going to happen after. This is just the during. So look at the extract. Where does it come from? Where are we in the book now? The plot analysis, remember. From the beginning, exposition, rising action, you have your climax and your falling action. So you've got to be able to remember here, where does this extract come from in the book? Then remember the actions. Then you will be able to answer the questions. Look at this one, number 11. Give away must get questions. I always say it is a criminal offense to fail such questions. Question 1. These are free marks. I mean the character questions 4.1.1, 1.1.1. Look at the characters. Look at the description. It says you choose a description from column B that matches or fits the description, the name in column A. Test your knowledge from the rest of the novel on the minor and the major characters, the relationship between the characters, the role that they play in the story. That is what you could also find in your description. And then moving on to the setting. We said the setting is the place where the story takes place and the time when the story takes place. Ways the setting is revealed includes dialogue between characters, descriptive passages, through action of the characters, and how the characters speak or act. Let's look at this question. Setting on Cry the Beloved Country. Here's a clue. I have never heard its like, said Khumalo. Perhaps we should thank God he is corrupt, said Msimanga solemnly. For if he were not corrupt, he could plunge the country into bloodshed. He is corrupted by his possessions, and he fears their loss and the loss of the power he already has. We shall never understand it. Shall we go, or shall we listen to this man, Tomlinson? Khumalo, I could listen to him. Then let's go nearer. Here it's difficult to hear. Here is a question here. Describe the setting of this extract. Describe the time and the place. It's the same thing. It's a different word variations here, but the question is asking for the same thing. Question requirements, remember. So describe the what, the setting of the extract, or describe the time and place where this extract is set. Those are the two variations, the two ways in which these questions can be asked. But the answer that we expect from your grade 12 tomorrow in this question is where and when does the action take place. So 1 minute, write it down on your classwork books. Welcome back. I hope you have this one, you've got it right. Describe the setting of this extract for 2 marks. Remember, today is not about teaching you the different genres that you have done in school. It is about teaching you how to answer questions in the examination. So you have the knowledge, as I've said, today you must acquire the skill, how to answer exam questions. So here, I said, look at the mark allocation. You can see this question is worth 2 marks. So there are 2 things that you need to list or outline here, the place and the time, the where and when. Now let's look at our response. The answer to this question is the time is when John Khumalo is addressing a gathering crowd. You see your first mark there? That's your first mark for the time. When John Khumalo is addressing a gathering crowd. Now, if you remember in our opening statement, we said it very clearly. Time is not morning or afternoon. So here, you are not going to say it was morning or it was afternoon. You must tell us what was happening here. What is the event? It was the time when John was addressing a gathering crowd. Now, where? In a public square. Here is your second mark. Mark allocation. Check the keywords. Check the amount of marks that are allocated to that question. Then you will know exactly how to go about answering it. Let us move right along to our next question. So here you have your setting, the where and the when, time and place. Right, let's look at another setting question from Cry the Beloved Country. Still kneeling, the father took his son's hands, and they were not lifeless anymore, but clung to his, seeking some comfort, some assurance. And the old man held some strongly and said again, "Be of good courage, my son. Be of good courage, my son." The white warder, hearing these cries, came in and said, but not with unkindness. Here is the question. Where is the setting? Describe the setting of this extract. Again, check your marks. You have 2 marks, so you must tell us when and where. This is the place, and that's your time. In order for you to remember this accurately, if you have to write it down in 2 separate lines, you are allowed to do that. Write the place, then write the time in order to remember and to remind yourself that you have answered everything that is required in the question. So there you have it. Where and when? The answer here is the setting is in the prison. You can see when you mention the place, you get your 1 mark. Where Absalom is kept after they have heard that there is no leniency, he is going to be hanged. Or where Stephen Khumalo visits him before he returns to Ndocheni. So you have your 2nd mark for the time. This is the setting. It is what? The prison. Before his father, Stephen Khumalo, returns to Ndocheni. Right. I hope we are clear on the setting question, because it will be in your examination tomorrow. And again, we expect 2 marks. Mention the place, mention the time. If you cannot mention it in 1 sentence, again, like I said, you can put it in 2 separate sentences in order to get full marks. But place, time, where and when. You give 1, let's say you only give us the place, we will give you 1 mark. If you only mention the time, we will give you 1 mark. You give us 2, place and time, then you will be awarded 2 marks. Now, let us move on to another question that is waiting for you tomorrow in the exam paper. How do you answer this question? Figures of speech, you will find it. It will be in the exam tomorrow. Line 2, still kneeling. The father took his son's hands, and they were not lifeless anymore, but clung to his, seeking some comfort, some assurance. Here's the question. Refer to lines 1 to 2. Now remember, the question says refer to lines 1 to 2. This means you cannot answer it without going back to read lines 1 to 2. So you need to go back to the extract and read lines 1 to 2. Still kneeling, the father took his son's hands, and they were not lifeless anymore, but clung to his, seeking some comfort, some assurance. Never make an assumption that you know what lines 1 to 2 is talking about. Always go back, refer, read the extract, read lines 1 to 2 to get a clear understanding of what kind of answer are we looking for. And they were looking for comfort and assurance. That is, what is the figure of speech? 1 minute. Welcome back. Let's look at our response for question 1.1.2. Identify the figure of speech in these lines for 1 mark. Here is our answer, personification. If you wrote personification, give yourself a mark for that question, for that answer. Personification. Remember, we said figures of speech are used to compare one thing to another. So you need to identify what are the 2 things that are being compared. So we say, yeah, it is what? Personification. Now, the second part of the answer is explain this figure of speech in the context of the extract. So in this extract, what does this figure of speech mean? Here's our possible response. What does it mean? It means that Absalom's hands are desperately looking or asking. Remember personification. giving human qualities to non-living objects, so things that are not human, they're not persons. But we give them what? Human attributes. So here, the hens are desperately looking for comfort, that everything is going to be all right as he is overwhelmed. Why is he looking for comfort? Remember, you must explain why the figure of speech is relevant. Why is this figure of speech relevant in the extract or in this context? So, because he is overwhelmed and scared that he cannot talk or ask for it. So the hens have been personified, or they've been given human qualities. Moving right along. Next question. Again, remember we said exam preparation. This is exam preparation. We're looking at the questions that you will come across tomorrow and master the skill on how to answer these questions. Again, don't panic. Don't be anxious. Calm. Do exactly what you have been advised to do. Definition of tone. What is tone? It is what simply refers to how the author feels towards the subject or something, or you will know what the author's tone is implying by the words they use. How something is said. Right. Refer to line 20. You must not leave me. You must not leave me. Do not leave me. What is the tone? How something is said or how it sounds like. So you need to say this out. You need to go back to the line. Refer to line 20. You can see it there. Go back to line 20. Read the extract. Put emotions to it. Then you will be able to understand how the character is feeling in that line. Remember, how we say something is how we feel. So how is he feeling when he says, what tone would Absalom use in this line? Line 1. 1 minute. Welcome back, grade 12. Let's look at our response to this question. What tone would Absalom use in this line? Desperate, fearful, despair, or desolation. Say the words yourself. You can hear or you can feel the sound of desperation. You must not leave me. You must not leave me. So you need to read the lines. You need to say the words out to yourself. Right? Then you will be able to see how the character is feeling. Why would Absalom use this tone in this line? Remember, you are not allowed to say he is afraid because he is afraid, or he is fearful because he is afraid. That is a repetition of the same thing. You need to explain a reason for his fear. He is not desperate. He doesn't sound desperate because he's desperate. What is the reason for his desperation? So in the second part of this question, we expect you as grade 12s to give us a reason for the characters. Why is he saying those words, the way he's saying them? How something sounds like, how those words sound like. Why would he use this tone? Why does he sound desperate? Why is he fearful? Our answer here is obvious. I'm sure you know it. You have written it down already. So let's see if the answer you are thinking of is the correct one. He is afraid because he knows he's going to die. That's why he's afraid. He knows there will be no leniency, there will be no mercy. He will never see his father again. He will never see his family again. And he's going to be alone when his father goes back to Ndocheni. I will be desperate. I'm sure you would feel the same way. You know, you're never going to see the people that you love again. So, that is why he is afraid. That's why he is desperate. Moving right along. A character state of mind. Remember, head and heart. What the character is thinking, how he or she is feeling. So you put the two together tomorrow in the examination and you will be able to ace this question. 2 marks. Give one word which best describes Stephen Khumalo's state of mind in this extract. Substantiate your answer. What does this extract reveal? Remember, this is one question, right? Forget the marks here. I'll put them here. What does this extract reveal about Stephen Khumalo's state of mind? Give one word and explain. You must explain. There you get your 2nd mark. 1 mark here for the word and 1 mark for the explanation. What does it reveal? Stephen Khumalo is devastated. He is distressed. He is sad. For obvious reasons. He has to convey the news to John that Absalom is in prison, or the fact that his son is not going to get mercy. That's what gets him what? That's what makes him sad. So you must explain the state of mind and give an example or substantiation. Give a reason for why the character feels the way that he does. Why is he thinking what he's thinking here? That is our state of mind question. Give evidence to support your answer for 2 marks. Now, the irony question. Say something but means something else when the opposite of what is expected is true or happens. When one thing is said but another thing is meant or happens. That is ironic. An event in which what on the surface appears to be the case or to be expected differs radically from what is actually the case. You say something, but you mean something else. So we expect one thing as the audience, but something else happens in the story. Dramatic. Explain why the character's words are ironic in these lines. So now we look at these words from our novel, Cry the Beloved Country. Consider the novel as a whole. So now you must look for what happens from the beginning of the book, Cry the Beloved Country, up until the end. Explain what is ironic about James Chevy's offer to assist with the restoration of Ndocheni despite the outcome of the court. So, here are our keywords here. James Chevy offers to assist to restore Ndocheni. Look at this word here, despite the outcome of the court. What is the outcome of the court? Absalom has been found guilty. So Absalom is going to be hanged for the murder of who? James Chevy's son. But he offers to assist to restore the village of Ndocheni. Why is that ironic? Why is that situation ironic? Now let's look at our model response here. That's what people are looking for. Khumalo's son, Absalom, is from Ndocheni. He has murdered James Chevy's son, yet he is still willing to help restore Ndocheni. Absalom is a son to Stephen Khumalo. Absalom is from Ndocheni. Absalom is responsible for the murder of Arthur Chevy's, who is a son to James Chevy's. But here is the father, James Chevy's. He's willing to restore the what? The village of Ndocheni. Why is that ironic? When the opposite of what is expected happens. The father of what? Arthur Chevy's. Remember, he has just lost his son. His son died because of Absalom's actions. Do we expect him to be kind, to be compassionate towards the people of Ndocheni? The answer is no. That is not what we expect. But is that what happens? The answer is that is not what happens. He goes on to help the people of Ndocheni. There are many examples when you read the novel on how James Jervis helped the people of Ndocheni. So that is what makes it ironic, because from what has happened, from the outcome of the court and what we know, Absalom Mestan, we do not expect the father of James Jervis to be compassionate or to help the people of Ndocheni. Right. Both parts must be included. You must say what is it that was expected and what happens. These two will earn you both marks. If you mention one part, you get 0. If you mention the second one, you still get 0. You must mention both for you to get 2 marks. What is it that is expected and what actually happens? Then you will get your 2 marks in the examination. Right, let's move on. Themes. You will be asked about themes tomorrow in the examination. One of the themes in Cry the Beloved Country is compassion. I think we've just discussed this. Now, if you look at the build-up, scaffolding in these questions, you go to the next question, but you get a clue from the previous question. So read these questions carefully, answer them, go back to them, read the previous one, or whatever the case may be. Read them with understanding. But if you answered the previous one, you will be able to see that some of the answers that you gave in the previous question can be used in the current one. Here, compassion. We have spoken about compassion already. Discuss this theme. I will give you 1 minute to write examples. To answer this question, one of the themes in Cry the Beloved Country is compassion. Discuss this theme. 1 minute. Welcome back. Let us look at our possible responses in this question. How does Stephen Khumalo, one of the themes in Cry the Beloved Country is compassion. Discuss this theme. Stephen Khumalo shows compassion. So our keyword here is compassion. Please, tomorrow when you come across these questions in the examination, please go and underline the keyword in the question. Like you can see here, the keyword in this question is compassion. What does it mean to be compassionate? You understand what that means. Then you are able to go refer. The knowledge is in your head. You have read the book, you know. Give us examples in the book where 1 or 2 characters show compassion towards another. So here we have Stephen Khumalo, who shows compassion towards the Jervis family after his son murders Arthur. Msimang shows compassion towards Stephen by assisting him in Johannesburg. James shows compassion towards the Khumalos by not blaming them for Arthur's death. So if you understand what the word compassion means, there are plenty of examples in the novel that you can use to answer this question and earn all 3 marks. Mrs. Litebe shows compassion when she accommodates Stephen and his family. There are many examples. You know the book, you have read the book. Now, tell us what you remember. Read the questions, read them carefully. Underline the keywords and make sure you give us the information that is required. Now, let's look at another question that you can expect in your paper 2 tomorrow. Is open-ended. Open-ended questions. Your answer must be grounded in the text. Your answer must be grounded in the text. This line is very important because here we want to see how well do you know your genre. How well have you read the novel, Cry the Beloved Country? Your knowledge, or how best you know it, will be revealed in your response when you answer these types of questions. You have to justify your opinion. Tell us why you agree or why you disagree. But remember, this isn't just your opinion in the general sense. It is your opinion based on the drama or the novel or the short story or the poem you have read. Give a statement and support it with evidence from the text. Use the peel method in open-ended questions. Make your point, explain your point, give evidence, and then link your answer back to the question. Sometimes you get carried away. You write and you write and you write, you even forget what the question was about. So at the end, you need to remind yourself, am I still answering the question? Is my answer still in line with the question that was asked? Example, response, yes, or I agree, or no, I do not agree. Here's an example question. Reverend Msimango is fair in judging Absalom's girlfriend harshly. Discuss your view. This is an example of an open-ended question. Looking at the information you have about the book, the novel, Cry the Beloved Country, is Msimango fair when he judges Absalom's girlfriend harshly? He is harsh in his judgment of Absalom's girlfriend. Now, is that fair? What does fair mean? What does it mean to judge? What does it mean to be harsh? If you understand those three keywords, then the answer that you give here will be accurate. Remember, question requirements. Fair, judge, harshly. He's judging, and he's judging her harshly. Discuss your view. So let's look at a model response. You can say, yes, he is what? He is fair. He's right. I agree. What he's doing is right. He must judge the girlfriend harshly. Why? Because Msimango is a pastor who does not condone the young girl's immoral lifestyle. He does not agree with it, therefore, he is absolutely right to judge. She admits that Absalom is her third husband, and she is expecting Absalom's child, and having a child out of wedlock goes against Msimango's beliefs. So he's not harsh here. He's doing what is right. Right? We agree. Right. Let's move on to a no response. If you say no, no is not being fair. He should not judge this girl harshly, because the fact that he's a pastor, he should be forgiving. You should have a forgiving nature. Or the girl is still young, only 16 years, and Khumalo considers her to be helpless, in need of guidance, and not to be judged. So no, I do not agree. Msimango is not being fair to judge this girl harshly. Or she's a victim of social abuse and neglect. If anything, Msimango should be sensitive and sympathetic. Remember, you can say yes and no, but that one, it must be well articulated. It needs to be well written. Do not contradict yourself. You can say yes, give us your responses, your opinions or your reasons for a yes response, and then say no, give us your reasons for a no response. We call that a combination, and it is acceptable. But contradiction is the key. Do not contradict yourself. You don't know how to do it, then say yes, give us your answer. Say what or no. There will be no mark for a yes or no. And don't be lazy. You have enough time and you have enough space in your answer books to answer these questions. You cannot be answering one word, one line, 2 lines, and expect to get 3 marks. It's not going to happen. We expect a well-substantiated response with examples. You need to be able to prove to us that you know what you're talking about. You have read the book. Give us enough to work with, and you will get the marks that you deserve. If your response is worth 1 mark, you will get 1 mark, and don't come back complaining. If it's worth 2 marks, you will get 2 marks. We want a well-substantiated response that will be awarded 3 marks. For full marks, the response must be well-substantiated. The candidate can score 1 or 2 marks for a response which is not well-substantiated. The candidate's interpretation must be grounded in the novel. So this is not your personal opinion. It's your opinion based on what happens, the events in the novel, Cry the Beloved Country. Otherwise, you will not earn the 3 marks. Let's go on to our next genre, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Let us look at some of the questions you can come across here. Here is an extract. It's exactly the same as the previous one that we have discussed. Read and read the extract. Now, after reading, you will get a what? A clue. Look at the line that is inside brackets there. It says, Mr. Utterson engages an unwilling Mr. Hyde in a conversation. Now, if you read that line, you already have a clue. You see here, Mr. Hyde is not a willing participant in this conversation. Why? Clues. Why is he not willing to participate? Right, you'll also see the place, the extract gives you what? Context. So you must read there, search for Mr. Hyde. So you must be able to place it in context. Again, giveaway, must get questions. You get what? 4 out of 4 in these questions tomorrow. Give yourself a good start to the examination paper. Start with the 4 marks, full marks in the character questions. You cannot fail this. Remember, character, description, match. Choose a description from column B that matches or fits the answer there in column A. So you have your character and a character description. Know these characters. Now they relate to each other or what role they play in the book, in the novel. Again, if you see here, same questions. They're similar. The setting is going to be there. So in preparation for tomorrow, you need to understand how to answer the setting questions. Let's look here. The physical setting of a short story is where the story is set. The setting also refers to the time. Here is our question. Describe the setting of this extract that we have just read. Here is our answer. It is the what? The back entrance to Jekyll's house. This is the what? The place. The back entrance. You can see here. You have the place, there, where. That is why there's only 1 mark. So you still have to give us more. When is when Mr. Utterson finally meets or runs into Mr. Hyde. That's where you get the other mark. Again, place and time. You can see the way in which we expect you to answer these questions tomorrow is very clear. So listen, pay attention, follow instructions. It's very easy. Very easy. Next, time and place. We have done that and we expect 2 marks in these questions tomorrow in all our genres. Why is the following statement false? You are not asked whether the statement is true or false. It's already indicated here. The statement is false. Now your job is to go and find evidence to prove that this statement is false. Mr. Lanyon personally tells Mr. Utterson about his last meeting with Dr. Jekyll. Mr. Lanyon personally tells, you can see here, personally tells what? Mr. Utterson about his last meeting with Dr. Jekyll for 1 mark. Why is this statement false? So you need to give us evidence that it did not happen. It did not personally tell him. You see, the words have been underlined for you. Now give us evidence to the contrary. The model answer, here it is. Make the false statement true or correct to say Dr. Lanyon writes a letter or a note to Mr. Utterson. He does not tell him personally. He writes a letter or a note to Mr. Utterson with the instruction that he may only open it after the death of Dr. Jekyll and Lanyon. So in the false statement, don't repeat the statement, but give evidence to prove that what the statement is saying is false or is true. But there must be evidence. You cannot just write it in the negative and get a mark for it. There will be no mark. Again, the tone question. Refer to line 6. And now you said, how? How do you know me? What tone would Mr. Hyde use in this line? Remember we said the tone, how something is said or how something sounds like. It says, what tone? How? How do you say, you know me? Why would Mr. Hyde use this tone? So you give a tone, which will be an emotion, a feeling in the of their character. And why do they feel in that way? You have the answer here. He's inquiring. He is curious. He is impolite. Now, why is he being what? Inquisitive. Why is he being impolite towards who? Dr. Lanyon says, Mr. Hyde does not really want to get involved in a conversation. You remember the clue that we had in the extract said he was unwilling to take part in the conversation. So he is inquisitive, he's curious because he doesn't really want to get involved in a conversation with Utterson. He doesn't want to have a conversation. He's not willing to have this conversation. That is why he is being impolite. Now remember these words, very important. Give the word, the tone, feeling of the character, and give the reason for it. Right, next question. State of mind. You can see this one is coming back again. Give one word which best describes Mr. Hyde's state of mind. What did he say at the state of mind? Two things, head, heart. So, what is Mr. Hyde here thinking? What is he feeling? The thinking and feeling. You can see you have 2 marks. Key emotions. Identify key emotions and thoughts. If you are not sure, you go back to the line, you go back to the extract again. You will find the emotion, you will find the thoughts, and give a reason for your answer. But when you say substantiate, we say give a reason. Give a reason. We want a reason for your answer, for your opinion. What does this extract reveal about Mr. Hyde's state of mind? Thoughts, emotions, anger. He's angry. He is nervous. These are emotions. These are feelings. He's angry and he's nervous. Why? Why? Remember, you must give us a reason. Why is he angry and why is he nervous? He is angry or is nervous? Give us a reason for your answer. Mr. Hyde realizes that Mr. Utterson is lying to him. Then that's what makes him what? It makes him nervous. It makes him angry. You can see here you have your state of mind and you have your example. Give us an example. Let's look at another question here. The figure of speech. Remember we spoke about the figure of speech questions? They're going to be there tomorrow. Then he began slowly to mount the street, pausing every step or two and putting his hand to his brow like a man in mental perplexity. Question. Refer to lines 9 to 20. Remember, very important, always go back to the line. Identify the figure of speech in this line, lines 9 to 20. Explain why this figure of speech is relevant. Why is it suitable? Why is it appropriate for the two things that are being compared? We say our figure of speech here is a simile. He put his hand in his what? In his brow, like a man in mental perplexity. That's a simile. Why is the simile? Just as someone who is confused or baffled about the situation, so is Mr. Utterson. He cannot understand the relationship. So he's baffled, he's confused. So he puts his hand in his brow like a man in mental perplexity. Now, the next question, character traits. What does this extract reveal about the character of Dr. Lanyon? Remember, in literature, we learn about characters, character traits, their attributes from what they do and what they say. Their actions and their words tell us who they are or what kind of people that they are in the story. Substantiate, give a reason for your answer. He's polite because he invites. You see there, we call that a split mark. So this is a split mark, which means you must also split your response tomorrow in the examination. The character trait question, the state of mind question, you will see. You give us the emotion or you give us the description, the character trait, and you explain it or you give us an example. What does the character do in the story that supports the description that you have given? Descriptive words to answer a character trait question. Or he is calm and collected despite the impolite Mr. Hyde. Right. Character attitude is how the character appears to feel about what is happening in the story, and this describes in what? A similar situation. You must think of how you would react or how you would feel in a situation like that. State one difference in the attitude of Dr. Lanyon and Mr. Hyde in these lines. Now, in this question, pay attention. I said underline keywords, difference. So the words you give here must show their opposite, the difference in the attitude of Dr. Lanyon and Mr. Hyde. You can see here, how do we know they are different? I'll give you 1 minute to answer that question. Right, welcome back, grade 12. Let's continue. The attitude here of Dr. Lanyon is suspicious and concerned, but that of Mr. Hyde is nervous and evasive. You can see the difference, and it must be clear. Difference of two facts. Now let's move on to the irony question. Event in which what on the surface appears to be the case or is expected differs radically from what actually is the case. Consider the novel as a whole and explain the irony of Dr. Jekyll's belief that Mr. Hyde will disappear whenever he wants him to, whenever he wants him to disappear. So the opposite of what is expected happens. So what are the beliefs? Here, Dr. Jekyll believes that Mr. Hyde can disappear whenever he wants him to. Is that what happens? Our answer is no. Dr. Jekyll believes that he is in control of Mr. Hyde, but in the end, Mr. Hyde controls Dr. Jekyll. So both parts should be included to earn marks. Moving on, the theme question. The main subject that is being discussed or described in a piece of writing. Please remember that is our theme. Discuss a given theme in relation to the passage or characters or genre as a whole. One of the themes in the novel is logic versus illogical behavior. Discuss this theme by referring to Dr. Lanyon and Dr. Jekyll. Now, the answer to this question is the discussion must include the following. Dr. Lanyon adheres to logic or materialist science. He considers Dr. Jekyll's approach as scientific balderdash and to be illogical. Jekyll delves into a mystical investigation of the nature of man, which defies all logic. There will be no mark for yes or no. You will get 1 or 2 if your response is not well substantiated. Now let's look at an open-ended question. In question 2, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Give a statement and support it with evidence from the text. Peel, state your point, explain, give an example, and link your answer with the question. Use the Peel method. Agree or disagree. Here is an example question here. Mr. Utterson's caring nature towards Dr. Jekyll prevents him from solving the case of Mr. Hyde. Discuss your view. Write a relevant response, which shows that if you say yes, Utterson's caring nature is what prevents him from solving the case of Mr. Hyde, is because his insistence on protecting Dr. Jekyll prevents him from learning the truth about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's his caring nature. His principal desire to avoid a scandal rather than the discovery of truth prevents him from solving their case. He suspects Dr. Jekyll is covering up a murder committed by Mr. Hyde, but prefers to protect his friend's reputation rather than to solve the case. So give your point, yes or no. Give evidence and explain. You can say no. His caring nature does not prevent him from solving the case because Dr. Jekyll deceived Mr. Utterson by lying to him about Mr. Hyde. Mr. Utterson cannot link the uncanny aspects of Hyde's appearance and behavior to Dr. Jekyll. When Mr. Poole tells him about strange things he has witnessed, Mr. Utterson fails to believe that Dr. Jekyll is incapable of such deeds. There will be no mark for yes or no. You will only be given full marks if your response is well substantiated. Now, easy marks, think and peel. I want us to look at the next section, our drama. We have 2 books from this section, section B, My Children, My Africa, and Macbeth by William Shakespeare. Again, here's an extract you are going to get in My Children, My Africa in question 4. Please read the extract as you have been advised to do. Read the extract. Here is a clue that is given. This extract comes from Act 1, Scene 3. Now, Mr. M and Isabel are talking. Read. You will get an idea of what is happening here. Again, giveaway questions. These questions are giveaways. You cannot get them wrong. You need to get them all right. Characters. Choose a description from column B that matches with column A. Test your knowledge. When, setting, when and what. My apologies for descending on you out of the blue like this, but I've been looking for you high and low. One of your schoolmates said I would find you here. Where? Looking for you high and low. So where and when? Describe the setting of this extract. Timeline of events. Act 1, Scene 1, what is happening? Act 1, Scene 2, what is happening? Now, we have given you Act 1, Scene 3. But this is there during. Remember, you must remember before, what happened before, and what happens after this extract. What is happening here? Describe the extract. The answer here, we say the setting is at Camp Debu. Looking for you high and low. Your classmates, your schoolmates said I would find you here. It must be Isabel's school. What is Mr. M doing there? When did Mr. M go to Camp Debu? When he went to inform Isabel about the English literary quiz. That's the time he went to Camp Debu. Again, context. What is happening? Place and time. Next question. So you cannot fail these questions. Like I said, you know them, now you know how to answer them. Why is the following statement false? My young family refers to Mr. M's children. Why is it false? Mr. M has no biological children. My young family refers to Mr. M's children. So you can't say this statement does not refer to Mr. M's children. That's not an answer. Then who is it referring to? If it's not referring to his children, who is it referring to? Right, let's look at the tone. Refer to line 6. You must blame Tommy for my familiarity. You must blame him. What tone would Isabel use in this line? And why would he use? He said it's jocular, it's humorous, lively, amusing, playful, or informal. Why is it humorous? He jokingly blames Tommy for the intimate or relaxed way in which he addresses Mr. M for using his nickname. So he's blame Tommy in a funny, in a joking kind of way. Right. Remember the tone words. State of mind. Again, you will find it here in My Children, My Africa. Give one word which best describes Mr. M's state of mind when saying these words and give a reason for your answer. He's elated. He's happy. He's impressed. Why? Give us a reason for Mr. M's happiness. That Isabel has such a profound effect on his learners. He is very what? Popular with the learners at Zola High School. What does this extract reveal about Mr. M's state of mind? Remember, the head and the heart. State of mind of Mr. M in this character. He is what? Impressed. He's pleased that Isabel has such a profound impact. You can see these questions. You give their emotion. How is the character feeling? What are they thinking? Now, in your explanation, you must give a reason for their happiness. Give us a reason for that emotion. Like here we have elation, we have happy. Why are they happy? Why are they elated? Right, character traits. in My Children, My Africa. What does this extract reveal about Isabel's character? What kind of a person is Isabel? Give a reason for your answer. He's lively, he's vivacious, he's respectful. She puts Mr. M at ease when she is apologizing. Remember, grade 12, we said we learn about characters, or the character traits come from what the characters did, what they do, or what they say. So what did Isabel do here? What did she say? Then how do we know what kind of a person she is? She is lively and she is respectful. We learn that through her actions, in her interaction with Mr. M. She is friendly. She was joking with Mr. M, right? He wants the use of symbols of the apartheid to be. That one is Isabel and Mr. M. Now let's go to figures of speech. Isabel speaks about her and Tammy's friendship. What is the figure of speech here? Oh, I mean, you know, like anytime, next week, because I'm not talking about the competition. Tammy, I accept that it is dead. Identify the figure of speech in this line for 1 mark. I admit, I accept that the competition is dead. The question says, refer to line 5. So you must go back and read line 5. Explain why this figure of speech is relevant. What is our answer here? We have personification. I accept that the competition is dead. Personification. When we give human qualities or what? Human qualities to non-living objects. Tammy's withdrawal from the competition signals its end, like the competition is dead. It has ended. It has died. That is why it has been personified. So you say personification and you explain why is it personification. Because Isabel gives the competition human attributes or human characteristics, human qualities, the ability to die. It is dead, right? Now, moving on, character attitude in the story. The character's attitude is how the character appears to feel about what is happening to him or her in the story. Think how you describe your attitude in any situation. Refer to lines 8. So, our friendship doesn't make sense. Explain Isabel's attitude here. She is angry, she is livid, she is frustrated. Right. State one difference in the attitude of Tammy and Isabel. So Isabel is angry, Tammy is careful and cautious. One is angry, the other is cautious. We should be able to see the difference in the two characters. Again, we come to the irony question. When the opposite of what is expected happens, or an event in which what on the surface appears to be the case or to be expected differs radically from what is the case. Say something but means something else. Explain the irony in Tammy wanting to end his friendship with Isabel. Why does Tammy want to end his friendship with Isabel in the first place? And why is that ironic? Tammy is a freedom fighter, yet he does not have any freedom when he is forced to end his friendship with Isabel by the comrades. Remember, it was never his decision. It was a mandate that came from the comrade to say there should be minimal contact with Isabel or white people during their struggle for liberation. So Tammy here is not fighting for his freedom to choose who he wants to be friends with. If he wants to be friends with Isabel, that should be his decision, not the other way around. So how is he fighting for freedom if he doesn't fight for that? Right. Both parts must be included. Now, drama has stage directions, grade 12. Stage directions. If you were the director of the play, what would you tell Tammy to do? So here, we're looking for actions. What must he do? Not what he must say. We already know what he is supposed to say. But what must he do when he say these words? The answer here, he should bulge his hands, he should raise his eyebrows or frown. He should open his eyes widely. And remember, he should not show facial expression. What expression? A frown is an expression. You see that now you are giving us an answer. But if you say facial expression, there is no mark for that because it's vague, it's too broad. We don't know what is it that he's supposed to do. Even if you were the director and telling him, he wouldn't know. So say it. He must frown. He must raise his eyebrows. Give any two of the above or any other relevant response. What should the character do when saying words? Please remember that tomorrow. We want actions. What must they do? Right, let's look at the theme. My children, my Africa, the main subject that is being discussed, that is the theme. What kind of theme question can you come across? The theme of living a meaningful life. One of the themes in My Children, My Africa is living a meaningful life. Now discuss this theme. The discussion of this theme should include the following. Isabel wants to enhance her life by learning more about Tammy and his people. She promises Mr. M at the Vapaspek Pass that she will contribute towards change in South Africa that would be living a meaningful life. His own life or career as a teacher, Mr. M, will have meaning if he succeeds in giving his learners the best possible education. For full marks, again, substantiate your answer very well. Then you will get 3 marks. If it's not well substantiated, you can get 1 or 2. And your answer must be grounded in the text. Open-ended questions. Remember, peel. State your point, explain your point, give an example, and then link. Here is an example of an open-ended question from My Children, My Africa. Mr. M deserves his final fate. Deserves. Underline keywords. Note them. What is fate? You cannot say yes or no without an understanding of the word fate in this question because it's a keyword, it's a clue. His final fate, what happened to him at the end? Does he deserve that? You cannot answer the question if you don't understand the words that have been used. Please, tomorrow, underline them, give them synonyms. If you don't understand the word, think of other words that could help you understand it better. Here's an answer there. Write a relevant response which shows the understanding, shows an understanding of the following aspects among others. He gives the names of Political Action Committee to the police. He gives the names of the boycotting learners to the Education Department. He refuses to join the boycott. Or you can say no. Mr. M gives the names, he gives the names of the boycotting learners in the hope that they will return to the classroom. His intention was not for them to be arrested or anything bad to happen to them. He just wanted the boycotts to end. Therefore, he does not deserve his fate. He doesn't deserve to die the way that he did. If you're going to say yes, you must give us reasons why. He gave the names to the police. What was going to happen to those people when they were arrested? You understand? So you should be able to explain. His actions justify the way that his life ended or what happened to him at the end. He gives the names of the action committee because he feels they are responsible for the unrest. He believes in communication and negotiation and therefore does not support the comrades who resort to violence. He does not deserve that. Right, there will be no mark for yes or no. Your answers must be grounded in the drama. Now, question 5, the list of short stories. These are the 8 short stories that we have studied. Forbidden Love, Rejection, Evelyn, Bag of Sweets, Class Act, The Wind and the Boy, The Girl Who Can, Triumph in the Face of Adversity. These are the 8 short stories you must remember in preparation for tomorrow. 2 of them will be in the examination. You answer both 5.1 and 5.2. If you are answering question 5, grade 12, you don't choose, you answer both. 118, the other one will be 17, somewhat there, you'll get your 35 marks. Then your other 35 will come from your other Chandra. Remember, we said 2 questions from 2 Chandras. So 5 is short stories. Answer both of them. Now, let's look at example questions that we get here. Triumph in the Face of Adversity, question 5, and The Girl Who Can. Answer the question set on both extracts. You can see the note there, both of them. So you'll have extract 1 and extract 2. Right, let's move on to our next question. Short stories, question 5. We have 5.1 and 5.2. Triumph in the face of adversity. So this is your extract. You will get this extract. Tulisile's mother, there's only time she came. So read the extract as we said. The only time she came to stay with us was after his funeral. So please read the extract, read it carefully before you attempt to answer the questions. Here are the giveaways that we spoke about. 4 marks out of 4 in the first question. You must get a total here. Test your knowledge. Again, you see the next question. First question is your characters. You'll get your second question is setting, the physical setting of the story. Let's get a question. What is the setting of this extract? Remember our setting questions, we said where and when, time and place for 2 marks. You can see your marks here. The setting is at the graveyard or at the cemetery during Tulisile's mother's funeral, when Tulisile is reminiscing about her tough upbringing with an abusive father. For 2 marks. Refer to line 1, the only time. When is the first time that Tulisile asks her mother to come and stay with her? This is after Tulisile buys a house. That's when she asked the mother to come and stay with her. Refer to lines 4 to 5. Remember, go back to the lines and read. Explain why Tulisile is feeling anger and not grief at her mother's funeral. She was angry. She wasn't grieving. Why? She's overwhelmed with anger at her father's abuse of his family. Remember, I said at that moment is when she realized that her mother was just a victim as well. She was a victim of the father's abuse. And disappointed at her mother for not leaving her father or not standing up for her children. So she was angry and she was not grieving for their mother's passing. Choose a correct answer to complete the following sentence. Write only the letter A to D. Tulisile's mother is an injured party because is she forced into a marriage? Abused by her husband? A loving and dedicated mother struggling with alcohol? The answer is B. She was injured. She was an injured party because she was a victim of abuse from her husband or the father. What do these lines tell us about Tulisile's state of mind? She's irritated, she's upset, as her mother nearly cost the children their future. Remember, you give the emotion and you give the reason for it. Why does she feel? Why does she feel upset? I mean, why is she irritated? Why is she frustrated? Refer to lines 15 to 17. The future looks endless possibilities. Identify the figure of speech here. Is a metaphor. Explain why this figure of speech is relevant. This extract, why is it used? The black cloud, which signifies the children's suffering, has been lifted to make way for a better future. So those are the 2 things that are being compared there. Let us look at the next question. Tulisile's parents moved away from Madlamini's place to Natal squatter camp. No. They moved to Phambili squatter camp. They did not move to Natal squatter camp. Remember, we said in this question, you must give evidence to prove that the statement is incorrect. One of the themes in Triumph in the Face of Adversity is fear. Discuss this theme. What are the answers that we're looking for here? The theme of fear. Thembekile stays in constant fear when she's introduced to the family as a young bride. What did the mother-in-law do to her? You remember the examples from the short story. When her husband abuses her later, she develops fear towards her husband and fails to protect her children. Their children live in fear because of their father's abuse. So you must go back. Fear, to be afraid. Why was she afraid? Go back to the contents of the short story and remember exactly what happened, what are the things, what happened in the house that made her feel afraid. Tulisile can be pitied. Underline the keywords there before you attempt or before you start answering. Do you feel sorry for her? Discuss your view. If you say yes, Let's look at the yes response. Yes, she can be pitied because she grows up in an abusive home. Therefore, we can feel sorry for her. Her father prevents her from achieving her ideals by stealing her money. She takes over the responsibilities of her parents by trying to provide for her brother and sister, and she was very young. Therefore, we can feel sorry for her. Or you can say no. She has a support system during these difficult times. She is resilient and overcomes a situation by being resourceful. She makes use of opportunities and succeeds in life. Not, there will be no mark for yes or no. So, do you feel sorry for her? I said, underline the keyword there. It's pitied. What does it mean to feel pity for somebody? So give us a reason. Give us reasons from the short story that make you feel sorry for her or that make you not to feel sorry for her. Your opinion alone will not be awarded a mark. We want opinions that are substantiated or supported by evidence from the short story. Now let's move on to the next question. The girl who can. They say I was born in Hasotsi. It is a big village in the central region of our country, Ghana. Like I said, grade 12, read the extract. Do not assume that I know the story. We read it in class. Go back to the extract. Read it. Setting where the story is said. Where are we? We are in the narrator's home in a village in Ghana, Hasotsi. You can see it there. Takes place when Ajwa was 7 years old. The story shifts between the narrator's home and the school. Now, what happens here? You remember we did this. It's not clear when the outlets take place, but we find out when the grandmother or Nana starts ridiculing, mocking her for her legs. Again, giveaway questions. 4 out of 4, nothing less. Unforgivable. If you cannot get 4 out of 4 here, you and me will have a problem. Joking. But yes, please, we need 4 out of 4 in these types of questions. Knowledge questions. Why the statement false? The village of Hasotsi is dry and barren. That is not true. Why? Because it is fertile. If you look at the word fertile there, it's an opposite for what? Dry and barren. So give and what? Give evidence to prove that the statement is false. It is not barren. It is not dry. It is fertile. You can't say, no, the land is not dry and it's not barren. That's just a negative statement. Tone, how something is said. After one's only daughter had insisted on marrying a man like that, you still have to thank your God that the biggest problem you got later was having a granddaughter with spindly legs that are too long for a woman and too thin to be of any use. The tone here would be harsh, cruel, mocking, uncaring, or unmerciful and inhumane from Nana. Why are they harsh? Why is she being harsh? Remember we said on the second part of the answer, you must give a reason for the character's emotion. Why does she say what she says, the way in which she says it? Why? What are the reasons? She blames Ajwa's deformity on the type of mate her daughter has chosen. That is why the granddaughter is like that. Or she is insensitive to Ajwa's thin legs. She is very insensitive. State of mind. What does this extract reveal about Mommy's state of mind? What does this extract? So here, you need to go back to the extract that is given in the question paper, in the exam paper. Read the extract. Now, from that extract, how do you think Mommy is feeling? What is she thinking? Remember, head and heart. Then you are able to answer. Substantiate your answer. Mommy is content. She's at peace. She's accepting. Why is she content? She's respectful or accepting or nonchalant, as she prefers not to indulge in her mother's negative comments. She's not entertaining the story about thin legs and them not being good for anything. Right, themes. Gender stereotype. What are stereotypes? What are gender stereotypes? We have different kinds of them. But this question is not asking about stereotypes in general. You must be, it is specific about gender. So read the question carefully. Do not make an assumption that you know what the question requires and you just look at the first word and the last word. No. There's no skimming and scanning here. Read it thoroughly. The themes in the short story is gender stereotypes. Why? What is it that we see that is can be said to be gender stereotypes? Examples. Nana makes fun of her granddaughter's thin and long legs. She believes that a girl's legs should have flesh in preparation for childbearing stage. That's a gender stereotype, that women should have such legs. Nana believes that Ajwa is less likely to be a good woman for this reason. Gender stereotypes. Nana does not send mommy to school because she believes women do not need to be educated. It's not just any stereotype here, grade 12. It's gender. So you need to understand the question so you can give us relevant answers. Discuss the theme of conflict in the story. The discussion of the theme of conflict. Nana and mommy, they argue about the choice of husband. The mother's not happy with the husband that the daughter chose. Nana blames mommy's choice of husband for the appearance of Ajwa. There's conflict there between the mother and the grandmother with regards to the appearance of the granddaughter, Ajwa. The discussion about Ajwa's skinny legs causes conflict between these two women. The theme of conflict. Mommy does not see anything wrong with Ajwa's legs, while Nana thinks they are of no use. Right, the theme of pride. What does Nana do to show that she's proud? She becomes #1 fan when Ajwa becomes famous and successful in athletics. Remember the uniform? She pressed it. The trophy that she was carrying. She prepares a school uniform and accompanies her to school and athletic events. Now, remember, this is the legs that she was mocking all along. But after she realized that they are good, they can be used for something else, she's the one who shows appreciation and proud. She is proud of her granddaughter. She takes pride in carrying her granddaughter's trophy. Right, open-ended questions. Nana is a cruel mommy. If you say no, she's not cruel because she's overprotective of Ajwa. In her view, the role of women is limited to motherhood. She feels a sense of pride when she shows Ajwa's trophy to mommy. And in The Girl Who Can, the title, the indomitable Ama Atwa Aidu examines the role and rules that people find themselves entangled in. Is the title of the story suitable? You can say yes, you can say no. If you say yes, the title The Girl Who Can is suitable. Yes, because it is about a young girl named Ajwa who proves that she can do something worthwhile with her long legs. Her capabilities are overlooked because of her thin, long legs. She proves everyone wrong. So the title is suitable because it talks about a girl who proved that her legs can be used for something worthwhile. Or you can say no. The title makes readers think the story is about superheroes or fantasy, but the story is about regular life and difficulties. It does not fully show how complex and detailed the story is. So that's how you can answer these questions on open-ended. Now I want us to look at our last question, poetry. What life is really like? You need to toughen up. My father will complain. When I was small, I ought to take you to see chickens having their heads chopped off. That will teach you what life is really like. The same thing here at grade 12. Just because you read the poem in class does not mean you can go straight into the questions. Go back, remind yourself, read it again from the first stanza up to the last one. Time and place. You will be asked a question on time in the poetry section, not the actual clock time, no morning, no afternoon. We want the event, what is happening in that line. Describe the time and place in stanza 2. Look for clues. Indicate the time when I was small, the place near the pigeon coop. Explanation, you will see it there. You will find that it says my father, the setting where the father seeks out the speaker during a specific event involving pigeons. Again, time and place. Sound devices. Identify sound devices and explain their use. Alliteration, the repetition of similar consonant sounds at the beginning of words or they're close to each other. Met with terror from a roaming hawk. Explanation here. Highlight the use of alliteration in met with terror from a roaming hawk. The effects of the poem's mood. The emphasis on the letter R emphasizes the intensity of what? Fear. They're mad with terror, like a what? From a roaming hawk. Now you will also get the tone questions in the poem. Identify the emotional quality of the text. You need to toughen up. My father would complain. You must toughen up. What tone would he use here? He is serious. He's commanding, tough. Why would the father use this tone? He meant what? To teach his what? A lesson. You want the father's words are meant to teach a tough lesson about life, which makes it a serious tone. How something is said and explained. Now you look at this question, identify the tone and explain why it is used. You see, life is a fight for survival. He would shout, forgetting he was not lecturing his students. Determine the tone and identify the emotional quality here. It says it's serious, it is cautionary. Again, here you will get the figures of speech. Identify the figure of speech, describe the two things that are being compared, and explain why the poet or author has used this figure of speech. Refer to lines 38, the drip from my bulldozed chest. Identify the figure of speech here and explain why the figure of speech is relevant. Pay attention to the words. To bulldoze the chest. To bulldoze something means to knock it down or flatten it using a bulldozer. Now, what is the figure of speech here? Is a metaphor. Why? Does it say the word? The drip from my bulldozed chest. It makes emphasis to the what? The brutal and relentless nature of the pain, suggesting that it wasn't a minor discomfort. That is how the what she felt in the story. The feelings of the speaker, you must explain them in the way that the words have been, are expressing it in the poem. Discuss the speaker's state of mind in lines 30 to 35. The speaker is reflective and understanding. The character of the speaker, what does the poem reveal about the character? He is resilient and he is reflective. You can see the irony here. Identify and explain the irony in lines 27 to 29. Why? He is talking to the child like he's talking to his students. He has forgotten that you've got to be, when you are giving life lessons to a child, it isn't the same. When you are addressing students in a classroom or in an augural address, it says the lines are ironic because the father is speaking to his child as if he were addressing a formal audience. Remember, we said irony when the opposite of what is expected happens. How do we expect the father to speak to his own child? And now we expect him to speak to the students. Is it that what we expect? Or is that what happens? The lines, we say they are ironic. The formal tone can only be used in the what? In the lecture rooms when he's addressing students. But he uses the same one when he gets home, when he must use a more personal and intimate tone with the child. Right. Themes for homework. Let's look at this. One of the themes in this poem is the harsh realities of life. Discuss your view. Is the title, what life is really like, suitable for this poem? Discuss your view. And then our last thought. As we reflect on the poem, what life is really like, we need to remember that life often presents us with challenges and hardships. We don't avoid these difficulties, but we learn how to face them with resilience and strength. Just as the poet talks about what? Toughening up. We should too find ways to be strong through these experiences. Your matric exam is an example of such. It's a challenge, it's a difficulty, but you face it with strength and resilience. Embrace the challenge, prepare diligently, and remember that every obstacle you overcome is a step building your inner strength and achieving your goals. Best of luck with the literature paper tomorrow. And I want us to do a recap of what our lesson today was about before we can close. What is it that we did in this lesson? important for tomorrow. We revise the structure of the literature paper. Please remember, you can only answer 2 questions from 2 genres. Do not page the question paper from the first page up to the last. Look at the table of contents. Look at the genres. Answer the genres you have studied at school. If you have done novels and short stories at school, that's what you are going to answer tomorrow. If you have done drama with poetry, that's what you're going to answer tomorrow. So look at the genres that you have studied. Do not pick questions at random. You have 2.5 hours to answer questions worth 70 marks. So use your time wisely and know exactly what you will be answering. We also emphasize that you should only respond to the questions that you have discussed. We did that. Remember, setting, time and place, where and when. Our time is not morning, is not afternoon. We are talking about the event, what was happening in the story in that extract. And then we also looked at the tone, how something is said, the emotions of the speaker or the character in the story, the state of mind, head and heart. Remember that for tomorrow. How a character is feeling, what they are thinking. Figurative language, figures of speech that are used to compare one thing to another. Identify and explain. Tell us what are the 2 things that are being compared and why are they similar, why are they different? Why is that comparison suitable, appropriate, or relevant? Now look at your irony when the opposite of what is expected happens. We just spoke about the poem here where the father speaks to the child like speaking to a group of students. Is that what is expected? No. As a lecturer, you can speak in an authoritative or commanding tone, but when speaking to the child, it should be more personal. So that is ironic. Now, good luck. Remember, put yourself in the character's shoes. They are just friends, they are your friends in the exam, and they will help you do well. But if you cannot relate to them, if you cannot put yourself in their shoes and imagine what they are feeling like, what they are going through, their experiences, you can never fully grasp or fully understand what the story is about. Know it and own your genres. Best of luck. Thank you and goodbye.